were reading these swear words. I was just in some zone when I wrote this. I really don't normally swear in my own life. I promise. I'm reading a little bit out of sequence as well, because if anybody does want to buy the book, if they haven't got a copy today, I want it to be a little bit of a surprise. And also I like talking, so I'll keep going. We've got a little bit more time. I'll speed through this. I'm not going to read all this one, don't worry. George. George was my closest friend. We were at secondary school together, and although we saw less and less of each other as we got older, we would try to meet up at least once a week at the gym. Since we were 13, George had always looked up to me. It was always me who got the girls, who wore the best clothes, who did the best at sports, and to top it off, who performed the best academically in a relatively short academic career. He was quite good looking. He wore his light brown hair short, he was slim, he dressed well, and at 5 feet 11 inches, he was only a little bit taller than me. He wasn't as chiseled or as groomed as me, but he had that half geek-ish chic and half football player look. I'd always joked that he looked more like a Division 1 football player than a Premiership superstar. Growing up, I don't remember thinking about the fact that George was white and that I was black. We got on well and that was that. But once I started to think of George as a white man, the dynamics of our relationship changed. "Bloody hell, Dan!" George exclaimed as I admired my six-pack in the mirror. "What? Can't I admire my hard work?" I said, laughing, as I unwrapped a towel from around my waist and dried myself. "Hard work?" George exclaimed. "Only you could say that and sound genuine." "George, you know you would be going crazy if you had a washboard like this," I replied. Bang. This last statement smacked me like a frying pan to the nose bridge. He had to go there, didn't he? I'd warned George about this before, although it never really made me too angry, but this time it was different. Why did he have to bring it back to colour? Why did he always have to mention race? "George, you know I hate it when you say that shit." "What shit?" I looked at him innocently, putting on his trainers. Can you really not see how that statement annoys me, I thought. I do not have it easy. "Alright, mate, I'm only having a giraffe." And despite myself, I laughed again. This was George's talent. No matter the situation, he could make everyone laugh. He was almost always relaxed. If this aspect of George's personality had a price, I would have bought it, but defensively. "You have, man. This is the way you were working out today." George then proceeded to do an exaggerated impression of me lifting a dumbbell. And damn it, it was funny. It really was. The times I met up with George at the gym were definitely when I was at my most relaxed. I enjoyed not talking about surveys, property market price crashes, and stamp duty. It was always casual chit-chat, nothing too deep. I hadn't even told George about all the times I had fucked Pula during coffee break, and as far as George was concerned, it had been well over 6 months, not 6 weeks, since I had met up with that dancer I had met at our local hangout. I had told George that the dancer and I had only got drunk together, purposely omitting the part when we had sex in the back of my car. George was my closest friend, but he didn't know all of this. If each friendship came under different titles, above ours would be written School Days, George's Dates, and Daniel's Safra. "I'm cool," I said, at the tail end of my laughter. "Just work stuff." And this was part of the truth. Work was always stressful. Besides, I couldn't really bring myself to say I have got a problem with white people, and that includes you. Anyway, I continued, "I'll leave that at the office." "You sure that's what it is?" George had an ambiguous grin on his face when he asked this question. What else would it be? I was somewhat snappy with this response. "Wow, don't bite my head off about it. You just seem a little stressed since..." George's voice trailed off. "Since what?" I asked with more than a hint of paranoia. See, I hated it when I suspected somebody knew more than they should. This went against my tradition of feeling in control, and I hadn't felt in control for a very long time. "I've seemed stressed since what?" I demanded. "Well, since Safra moved in with you." My face read, "Oh, for fuck's sake." We were both now fully dressed and made the journey out of the changing room through the gym reception in silence until I said, "Safra hasn't moved in with me. It's just a trial period." I said this more to myself than to George. "Okay, bro," George said with a smile. We walked on in silence until we reached the car park. "George, she hasn't moved in with me." "Okay, bro," George said once again, with a similar smile to the one he wore in reception. "Oh, fuck off," I said in a tone that was more frustrated than anything. "I'm just saying, Dan, that little by little, you are going to see more and more of her clothes in your wardrobes." George was really amused by this. I wasn't. And I kissed my teeth and headed towards my car to demonstrate this fact. "Come on, Dan. As long as she doesn't make you put a baby seat in your Beamer, you're fine." I entered my car, giving George the finger at the same time. "Dan, cheer up! Look at your car and look at mine. George pointed between my BMW and his grey Peugeot 206. Now, this brought a tiny smile to my face because it was quite true. George's car was a little bit shit. Oh, you're smiling now, are you? Gets me every time. I mean it. Look at your car and look at mine. Where is the justice in this world, Dan? Oh, Georgie George. Oh, George. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? George was slightly taken aback by my response. He ran his hands through his brown hair. It wasn't funny. I started up the engine and slowly pulled away. Fucking hell, Dan, George called as I moved off. I put my foot down, contemplating the irony of a white man asking a black man about justice. Joke or not.